Hello, this is the Truth Seeker. Today I wanted to talk a little bit more about my personality type, which is INTJ, and the possibility that I may also suffer from being on the autistic spectrum. Now, some of the things that are related to the INTJ personality also seem to cross over into the same traits that people on the autistic spectrum deal with. So I've only just started to look into this, um, but I have been watching some other videos on some individuals that are INTJ, um, and without um, autistic spectrum. And I have noticed that their ability to speak and present themselves as an INTJ personality is a lot more fluid, a lot more charismatic than that of myself. Now, I'm not saying that that alone is reason for me to believe that I am on the autistic spectrum, but it is a contributing factor. And so I have noticed that, in looking at videos of others with the INTJ personality, they tend to be they tend to present themselves a little more confidently, a little more fluidly, uh, and so so here's some of the things that I have struggled with over the years. Number one, keeping a job. Um, I'd say the longest time span that I was at a job was for 4 years. Okay, and this is since the year 2005. So since 2005, the longest job that I have been able to hold is for 4 years long. Now, there's been a lot of economic upheaval and a lot of, especially here in Southern California, where it's very restrictive against business guidelines. So I can't entirely blame my own traits for my ability to keep a job, but it is another factor that goes into the mix of, am I on the autistic spectrum? Now, in my previous videos, I talked a lot about obsessive thinking and getting stuck on a particular topic and really digging into the details um, ad infinitum. Is that how you pronounce it? um, and I think that has hindered my work primarily, and caused me to be not as productive as other individuals who may not be as smart as me. They may not be as skillful as me, but they're able to uh, they're able to move on from one thing to the next and get things done quickly. Maybe not as thoroughly, maybe not as completely, but sufficiently, satisfactorily. um, and I think in the past I've always made excuses for myself and said, I am a normal individual. I uh, I'm just very conscientious. I'm very worried about doing the correct job and getting it done right and knowing that I got it done right. But perhaps this has more to do with um, not being able to move forward, not being able to let go of certain things at work, certain policies and procedures, and uh, questioning things that the majority of people, let's say neurotypical individuals, that uh, they don't question. They, but part of my personality is in questioning the foundational reasons for everything that I do. Okay. Um, so in the past, I have been laid off because of reasons such as having low scores on my yearly performance evaluations, which were impacted dramatically by my ability to be a team player. Okay, let's just say that you know when you're acing every other topic, but you fail in the social aspect of your job, and it pulls your overall grade point average down. You know, it doesn't matter that you can do your job. It doesn't matter in those respects because I can tell you right now there were lots of other individuals who weren't even performing as good as I was, and I was falling below the average. But these other individuals excelled in other areas that had a lot to do with social interaction, and so that brought their grade point average up. You know, that brought their overall score in their performance evaluations up. But and I said it before, that was a hard lesson for me to learn, but I basically realized that um, the number one person to to get along with and to be a yes man with was your manager. That you had to everything had to be peaches and cream with your manager. It all didn't matter if they were shoveling you crap every day. You had to just smile and thank them. So basically, um, relationships. I never thought that I was having issues with relationships, but honestly, what I realized was, or what I told myself was that there really weren't a lot of people that I wanted to develop relationships with. I mean, um, because in my head, I come up with justifications like, well, this person's not interested in what I'm interested in, or I don't agree with their values in this regard. But at the same time, there have been lots of occasions where I have really in my heart wanted to reach out to somebody and hang out with them. And for whatever reason, I say to myself, well, if it's meant to be, then it's meant to be, and we'll cross paths, and they will initiate the relationship. Um, but no, it just never works out that way because I'm always waiting for somebody else to initiate the relationship. And why? Because to me it's awkward and it's unnatural. It doesn't feel natural for me to say to somebody, hey, you want to hang out sometime? Those words don't come across my vocabulary, unless unless it's natural, unless it feels natural, and it never feels natural. Maybe very rarely, and then like even when it does and everything clicks and they're like, yeah, here's my number and la la la, somehow I never am able to follow through and put forth the time and energy to go hang out with a guy or whatever, and as a result, the only guy friends that I have are a result of the the relationships that my wife has with somebody. So my friends kind of are based off of the friends of my wife, you know, and then of course my family, you know, family's family, and you hang out with your family, and of course my childhood friends and friends from school, because in all those relationships, they were a development out of a structure, and so so the other problem I have, I think, in that regard is that I don't really have a uh, a a church or a community that I attend on a regular basis so that I can start to develop those relationships. However, this last year I have been going to a men's group consistently, and so I have been, you know, having some regular acquaintances once a month on a Tuesday night that I can go and talk with, and nothing has developed from that so far, but um, and so there's always the acquaintances, and there's people from school. School is a big thing for me because of relationships. If I wasn't constantly going back to school, I wouldn't have relationships. I wouldn't have as many relationships as I did, or as I do. Um, so, and the other thing is like in my head, like I don't really even see any time that I would have for relationships with other guys, um, because in my head I'm like, okay, well, I've got responsibilities, and I need to get a job, and I need to continue to um, you know do my housework and take care of my wife, and make sure the bills are paid, and how can I do all that and have a relationship on top of that? um, because it's almost like a little too much for me to deal with, because I start to forget things, um, just as it is right now. I'll forget to pay a bill, or um, and I'm very meticulous about those things. In the past I have been, but more recently, since 3 years ago my mom died, I haven't been as on my game as I used to be. My mom was a very big part of my venting process and my socialization, or dealing with my anxieties and my frustrations. And when I lost her, I lost a very vital part of myself, and and so I didn't have anybody to replace her. So I've kind of been looking for that, and I call my brother, and he's really good. My brother's really good, but he's got his family and his worries and his things that he does. So um, um, I've got a list of things I'm looking at here. So eye contact, yeah, that's obviously a big issue uh, with me. Let's see what else. Let me pause the video real quick.